All right, we're almost ready to get out to the field. We have a few more steps. The step we're going to talk about now is our soil sampling. And if you go to section 2.1.1 in the sampling and analysis protocol in the regulations, it goes step by step as to how good methodology of how to soil sample. I'm going to lay it out as to what it would look like on the map, and a good way to record your soil sampling map so that you can ensure that you know where the samples are taken. You can represent those to the farmers, and if there's any issues with the samples, you know which areas of the field that they're from. So, first step is to understand the largest field area that you're able to be represented, that you're able to represent with a soil sample, which is 10 hectares, and the number of subsamples in those prescribed areas. So looking at field 2, my vehicle is going to park here in the laneway, and so I'm going to divide this section. 10 hectares is the largest available area to be represented. There is an exception that you'd have to read in the sampling protocol, but regardless, the standard would be 10 hectares is the maximum. Now, our tillable area is 31.6 hectares, and as you can see, this area that we cut out of the field, if you do the quick calculations, 141 meters by 480, divide that by 2 because it's a triangle, you're going to at least cut out 3 hectares there. And so I'm going to assume, or I know factually, that the usable area, the area that's left that we're going to soil sample, is going to be 30 hectares. So I'm going to divide this field section up into 3. And so rather than going out into the field and trying to do it visually, which is sometimes very difficult, I'm going to do it right from here. So I already have an idea as to how to divide the field efficiently. Now, obviously, there are different areas that you should avoid. Bottoms of slopes is a big one. Maybe tops of hills is another one. Anywhere near manure storages or barns where lots of nutrients in the past might have been applied. Avoid those areas because it will skew the result. But nonetheless, if you have a field that has been cropped fairly consistently, or at least it's been cropped the same and it's been fertilized similarly, you can divide into a non-biased area. So I'm not picking any areas out specifically. I'm just going to divide it up into 3 that make sense to walk. So knowing that I'm going to park here, I'm going to try to cut down on the amount of walking that I have to do. It's just kind of a practical element of it. And I'm going to start here, and I'm going to zigzag my way down the bottom. So I'm going to use this tool up here to actually draw out the sections, and I can adjust them as I go, but this gives me an idea as to visually what it would look like to divide this field up into 3 equal sections of 10 hectares each. So that's going to be a little bit narrower there. And next I'm going to split it right about there, and that gives me pretty close to 10 hectares in each area. And I'm going to label these with a text box. A, B, and C. Okay, and then coming over here, we have 35 hectares, and so that will not be able to be represented by 3 sections. We're going to have to divide this into 4. And so it's fairly square, which means I can fairly closely, maybe a bit of an angle to compensate for the bush here. I'm going to split it into 4 equal parts. And I think I'm going to angle that to get a little bit more out of there. That's good enough. There won't be any sections there that will be greater than 10 hectares. And doing this in the office rather than on site allows you to visualize it in order to get these sections divided nicely. And same thing goes here. I'm just going to label the section in order that I'm going to walk it. And the last section, G. Now, I have my areas calculated out. And so what we're going to do now, these sections are about 10 hectares each. We're going to have a little bit less here, but easy figuring. It's about 10 hectares. And the protocol says it is 20 subsamples per 5 hectares, and then at least 2 additional cores per hectare. So if we're doing 10 hectares, it means 20 plus 10, which would be 30 subsamples per 10 hectares section. So when I'll just show you what it might look like. So I'm going to be parking here. I'm just going to zigzag through this section, grabbing a good variety of samples, and I'm going to make sure that I have 30 cores in this section. I'm going to fill my bag. Typically your soil sample company has paper bags or sampling bags that you can use. You can use any other type of container, but I would suggest using the same volume of containers, and I would fill them right to the top. Even though you're only going to be sending a little bit of it to the lab, I would fill it right to the top. Make sure that you have a good amount of soil in there rather than throwing a lot of it out. And you're also going to want to smash it up really fine so that you get a good mixture. Otherwise you might potentially have a lot of chunks in the top and you might get a lot of subsoil in there. So you're going to want, some people use different tools to mash it all up. But whatever you use, the purpose is to just give it a real good mix so that you get a good representation of the soil in that area. And once I grab that section, I would walk up here and I would come back down and I would come out here. That's efficiently covering almost all the area there in a zigzag random pattern. And then the next section again, I would walk up here, down here, around here, grab some over there, and then backtrack down to here. So different sections you might have a little bit more zigzagging, but nonetheless you want to do your best to represent the whole area as best you can. So this gives you an idea as to what a soil sample sketch would look like, and you could save this separately. I don't include the soil sample areas on my approval submission map. It would just get too busy, but I save this in the background so that when I get my soil sample results back, the different sections are labeled according to what we labeled our map. So this is how you can set up efficiently how to soil sample your farm and keep records of where those soil samples were quickly, easily, and whenever you go to finalize your map, you would save this separately and carry on and just delete the soil sections and finalize your site inspection after you've completed it. So that completes the soil sample section.